Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're talking about the things that we have discovered in this new life of traveling around the world, and new being 3 years now, and we've traveled extensively. Maybe it spurs some thoughts in you. Maybe it encourages you to look at this possibility because honestly, it's a nice life to have, and it's a less expensive life to have. But we'll get into that. So the first thing is just the overall sense of adventure and freedom because we're not working, we're going where we want, when we want. We're obviously planning things out. We have a budget, so we have to account for all of our travel costs, our accommodations, and all that. But at least we have that flexibility and freedom to kind of decide, like we did last year with let's spend 8 months in Asia, or more. We loved it. We could have stayed longer, but we had some family obligations and things we wanted to do, and now we're doing an extended trip in Latin America.
Yes, I really, really want to go to the next one and say that for me is the new places that we have the opportunity to go to visit, new cultures
Immersion. Yep.
emerging with the new cultures, learning new languages a little bit, just the basics.
Still struggling with English.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. And I really enjoy that. The world is amazing.
Yeah. We have had some amazing experiences dealing, just talking to the local folks, getting help from people who speak no English at all, who are just so sweet and walking us to get help from the right people, showing us where things are, showing us where our Airbnb is because we couldn't figure out the addresses. It's just a wonderful thing. And that sense of freedom, and then the sense of accomplishment of figuring out how to get food or get medicines or whatever in a country. It's all the little victories are great. And then of course the next one is for us the affordable luxury, especially in the hotel world. We are finding that outside of those high cost areas, we're really able to get much better accommodations, whether it be in an apartment, but oftentimes in a hotel, or in this case an apartment hotel. And you can see, this is just the balcony. The apartment itself is really nice too. But yeah, we've had some wonderful stays that we'll be showing you in other videos where we dive into specific hotels and the value that we were getting out of them.
And I want to add something to that, and it's a learning process, which is very exciting because a lot of things that we really don't know when we start this adventure, we are being learning slowly how to manage the points, where to look, what we can get from certain hotels and all that, to make the life better.
And I've been doing points for 20 plus 30 years, I guess it was 30 something years. And I thought I knew a lot. And boy, I've learned so much thanks to a number of really great YouTubers, as well as just trial and error and plenty of mistakes. But thankfully, points are not as expensive. And when you're not staying at ultra resorts and in high cost areas and burning through 50, 70, 100,000 points, a weekend, you don't feel so bad if you make a mistake. You feel like you can get up and leave. And with points, you often can get the points returned because if they don't live up to their end of the bargain for the level of service you want, you're usually pretty good about getting your points back.
Mm-hmm.
So next.
Yeah, the next one is the food flavor and the food discovery, I think. Yeah. Because you normally, like, for example, when you go to Southeast Asia, there is, fried rice and, the pho and those things. But when you immerse yourself in the culture and start to find there is another things that you never hear about, it's very exciting trying new things.
Yeah, I remember there was a dish that was being served in one of the hotels, and the description, was beef stew, and I went, really? And it was a literal, just like a beef stew, like my mom used to make, like they do amazingly in French, but with that Asian influence to it. Mm-hmm. But it was still potatoes and carrots and beef and maybe a couple other things, but nothing wild, nothing crazy. But it was like, oh, they had their own take on the staples. The world over has, the same things. You get chicken everywhere, but
that little extra thing that they add make the flavor totally different.
Exactly, the spices they add. Sometimes it's the heat, but usually it's just their flavors. And it was amazing to taste things like that. And the other part, of course, as we've mentioned before, is just the fruits and veggies, the groceries, the stuff tastes like
Hmm.
the food we, I guess, remember when we were young. But it actually tastes like a
Especially for
tomato is
me.
supposed to taste.
Yes, exactly. The other thing is, you know, when you, especially when you retire or when you think about retiring, you think, okay, what am I gonna do with my time, with my free time? That I gonna be sitting in a couch watching movies or eating a lot of crappy food, or I will feel, more excited to go out, exercise, walk more. I mean, we love to go out, especially
Yeah.
when we're close to the beach.
Oh yeah.
We really enjoy getting up early and going to have a walk on the beach.
Yeah. We try to get out
That's
there close to dawn, but sunrise is here before 6 a.m. So that's a little bit of a struggle. We were just in Vietnam, and the sun doesn't rise until 6:37 most of the year,
Mhm.
so that was a little easier to get out for those sunrise walks. And we were actually facing the right direction for it, so that was good. Yeah, we walked so much when we were in Europe. Just in Spain especially, we walked all day, all the time. It was great.
or when we were in Madeira, we get up and just start to hike those beautiful mountains,
Mhm.
and you feel so good about yourself.
Yeah,
You feel like you have more energy. I mean, you feel like a teenager again.
yeah, and
It's awesome.
yeah, part of that is just we gave up the car culture from home. The normal life we led was, oh, you're going to the store. The store is 2 blocks away. Well, you might buy a couple of heavy things, so you got to drive there, or you're going to Costco and you can't carry that home, and it's obviously nowhere near your house. So the next thing, kind of related to the food, except it's the when you want a cheap meal and you're out, in these different areas of the world. Here in Colombia, a cheap meal could be,
An empanada
yeah, an empanada or some
or
other,
arepa
fried.
huevo.
Yes, yeah, and just little things that you buy from the store, and they're 2, 3, $4, but they're freshly made. I mean, you literally can buy them from the street food vendors and watch them make them. Um, but you can go to the little restaurants here and get a cheap family style meal, just a little, we had ropa vieja the other day, beef, and it's 4, 5, $6 per person max, and that's drink included. Um, same thing with Southeast Asia. You go for a cheap meal, like you go to the mall because you want the air conditioning at that point because it's hot and humid. And you go into the mall and you go to the food courts there, and it's real food. It's not fast food. It's not. Now, they do have American fast food in these places too. They're usually on their own little separate area. So for when when the locals want crave the American food, they'll go to KFC and Burger King and stuff.
Mhm.
But otherwise, you go and get chicken and rice when you're in Asia, and it's just so good and it's healthy and it's fresh. Yeah, I to me that is a huge step up.
Yes. The next one is the cheap and affordable transportation. In almost in everywhere in the world, we've been finding that using Uber or Grab is so affordable. So you don't feel forced to, jump in the bus or renting a car. You just have to pay a couple of dollars for a very long distance transportation.
Yeah, it's something we did notice when we were home was when we had to take a couple of Ubers. It was a couple of miles at most, and you're paying 10, 12, $15 if there's surge pricing. You could pay $20 to go a couple miles. In Southeast Asia, here in Latin America, getting in an Uber or a Grab is, it starts at a buck, buck and a half, $2. I mean, we went all the way, 4 miles into town to the shopping center we wanted to go to because we needed to get some things from this one particular store, and I think it was $4.
Yes. It wasn't more than,
And yeah,
yeah.
20-plus minute drives, and they deal with all the pain and cost of gas and maintenance and everything else. I don't want to even rent a car here, let alone buy a car in any place else again. So the next thing, and this is something because we have made mistakes, is the freedom to get up and leave if you make a mistake. And we're talking everything from leaving an Airbnb or a hotel that just is not what we were sold,
Mhm.
and dealing with, trying to get our money back or our points back, to, just walk away from a meal that you order because it's just not very good, and knowing you're not blowing your budget on this meal and you can go and get another one. So that freedom has been wonderful. It's something you don't expect because you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to book something and then I'm stuck there. You're really not. No, people don't want negative reviews. Just go ahead and it does give you a sense of flexibility.
Hmm.
That obviously when you own a house, you don't have that flexibility because it's expensive to go even on vacation.
Yes. I mean, you're having the possibility to, move or organize your time the whatever way that you want. I think is big and is priceless.
Yeah. Then finally, one that will not shock you is it just costs a lot less. Like
A lot less
yeah, I just want to say that again. It costs less to live where you
traveling.
want, when you want, travel, see amazing places, stay in luxury hotels than it does to live in a modest, middle class life in the States now. And that just, it was absolutely shocking to us, surprised us. We are so grateful that we did it when we did it. We wish we'd done it sooner. Now, obviously, things kept us from doing it, but yeah, it really truly, the nice thing is it costs so much less that when we make these mistakes or we want to splurge on something like a Halong Bay, hint, go watch that video. Um, we can make up for it by just shaving a little bit here and there from the upcoming months. I don't know about you, but it was really hard to shave a little bit from the upcoming months when we had so many fixed costs back in the States in our previous life. So,
Big obligations and big bills to pay.
yeah.
Yeah, it will keep you, hold you back
And that's,
to enjoy life.
yeah, and that's a great point is the emergencies that came up in the States were always so much more expensive because it was things like your car broke or, you need new tires or you got sick and suddenly you had this $1,200 medical bill. Um, it just was one of those things that it seemed like every month or two we had these unexpected costs. And even though you have an emergency fund, it seemed to get used up really quickly in the air. So again,
And I also want to add something to that. It doesn't mean that this type of life is perfect
oh God,
because
no.
nothing is perfect. We make mistakes. We spend more in here and there that we don't supposed to. But that's the beauty of the flexibility that we have to manage time, money, budget. Is I mean, I really love the way we're living right now.
Yeah, and in conjunction with that is without all of the stresses that we had from work, budgets, unexpected costs, other drama, outside forces, safety, everything else, our center, our own happiness is so much better that even though we spend 365 days a year, pretty much 24/7, we rarely get into those tense moments that we would normally get into. Me being a pain in the ass is not nearly as unnerving to her as it would be with all the other stresses in life. She can just look at me and go, "Really? That's what you're concerned about?"
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Hey,
It makes the couple life easier.
yes. Yeah. Not that we can't, push each other at times, but mostly life is really easy. So we
Yeah.
highly encourage you to look at it. Please ask us questions. We would love to expound, love to share more of our experiences, watch our other videos.
Or if you have any questions,
Yeah.
please let us know or suggestions.
Yeah, we are very happy to share any information. We do have videos with our budgets. We do have videos with some other details. We have a ton of videos coming out with specific places we stayed, our
Hmm.
thoughts on certain cities. So hopefully we'll be able to get those out soon. But thank you for watching this one. We appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you for watching.
Happy travels.
Bye.